Between the time when Nintendo ruled gaming and the rise of the Double Dragons, there was an age undreamed of. Do I sound like Darth Vader? And unto this, Michael, destined to wear the jeweled crown of Sega upon a troubled brow. It is I, his chronicler, who alone can tell thee of his saga. Let me tell you of the days of high-adventure gaming. Luke, I'm your father.
Okay, before I get to my knees and the bloody corpses of my fallen enemies, you must be thinking, why review Golden Axe in true Conan the Barbarian style? Well, part of the reason is, when I was a kid, I'd play Golden Axe and pretend I was Conan as I played the Axe Battler character. It's kind of funny, his character is very similar to Conan's, with both of them losing their mother and wanting revenge, but in Conan's case, he lost his father too. And the biggest reason is, I'm a huge fan of the 1982 Conan the Barbarian movie, and this is the perfect opportunity to review Golden Axe and pay tribute to Conan the Barbarian with the release of the new movie. So without further delay, let's get started with the review. Golden Axe, first unleashed to the arcades in 1989. This arcade game, like many others by Sega, totally blew everyone away. It was fresh, bold, and just pure awesomeness. It was just so much fun to play. I remember the lines as a kid you had to stand in just to play this game. So when the Genesis was released, and this being one of the very first games to come out, it was a big deal. Released for the Genesis and Mega Drive in 1989 for the US and Japan, and then later in 1990 for Europe. Immediately, this was a must-own title for any Genesis Mega Drive fan back in the day. Mako Uchida was the primary director for the game, and also responsible for the creation of Altered Beast, a similar game. Was fond of action movies, particularly the Conan the Barbarian films, and wanted to create a game influenced by these films. He stated the development team for the game was small, and development for the game took around about a year. As a true testament to how good this game is, it was ported to so many systems. It was an arcade game to start off with, it was ported originally to the Genesis and the Mega Drive, then there was a Master System version, then there was an Amiga version, Commodore 64 version, Sinclair ZX Spectrum, a DOS version, an Amstrad CPC 464 version, an Atari ST, PC Engine, Commodore Amiga, then there was a version made for the Sega CD, and then there was the Sega Smash Pack which came out on both the PC and the Dreamcast, the Bandai WonderSwan, and then in 2003 there was an enhanced version made for the PS2 under the Sega Ages 2500 line, and then later coming out on the Wii Virtual Console, PlayStation Network, and Xbox Live Arcade. So the gameplay. The best way to describe the gameplay in this game is, it's flexible. In the options menu, you can choose how many life bars you have. As a kid, this option was invaluable to me, and without it, I would never have stood a chance against this game. This may not sound like much, but this was the beginning of difficulty mode in gaming, I think. So how does the game play? Well, it's a side-scrolling 2D beat-em-up with all trimmings. You have 3 buttons. C is the jump button, B is your attack button, and if you press both jump and attack together, you can attack from behind. Or you can just jump in the air and then attack. But by far the best button is the A button, the magical button. Let's talk about the button for a moment. As you play the game, you pick up potions. You can unleash your magic at any time as long as you have at least one magic potion, but the more potions you collect, the more powerful your summon will be. Doing this is the best way to quickly defeat bosses and get out of a bind too. On the subject of bosses, not all the 8 stages in this game have one, and the few bosses you do have in the game tend to reappear throughout the game, and each time they come back they get more and more tougher to defeat. The cool thing about the Mega Drive Genesis port is you have an extra level and extra boss too. Yay! But not to worry, this is a 2-player game, so you'll have someone to help you out. Each player can pick one of 3 characters to help them in their quest. Ex-Battler, the Barbarian, Gillis Thunderhead, the Dwarf, and Tyrus Flare, the Amazon. These 3 characters do feel different from one another, each having different moves, and different magic too. Talking about the graphics in this game is a tough one. People around my age and older will understand this, and to all you young retro gamers out there, I'm going to try to explain why the graphics in this game are truly awesome to you. Nowadays it's pretty much all about gameplay with gaming. But back then we did like a bit of eye candy too, and the best place for that kind of gaming was in the arcades. So imagine being able to play this game in your living room, on the couch, back then was a huge deal. I don't think I can really be objective about the graphics in this game, I still see them the same way I did as a child. This game looked awesome back then, and even now I still think it's held up to the test of game and time. No fan of gaming can hear the tunes in this game and not know they were from Golden Axe. It's some of the best game music hands down on the Genesis, Mega Drive of course. Even though they're simple at times and a bit repetitive, nevertheless I love them. And when doing research for this review, I got to hear some of the fan remixes of the music in this game, and they're incredible. Throughout this review you can hear some of them. But hands down my favourite tune in this game has to be the one from the first level. Words haven't been invented to express how good that tune is. So overall this game has solid music to go with it. So my final thoughts. Golden Axe is just simply a classic. You've all played it, and you all know just how good it is. So for anyone who hasn't played this, I suggest by the powers of Crom himself, that you grab yourself a copy and treat yourself to a Sega masterpiece. And if after watching the new Conan movie and you're still in the swords and sorcery mood, then pop this Sega classic into your Mega Drive and let your imagination run wild. So I give this an epic thumb of approval.
The ending bit. So, did Michael return the game cartridge to his game shelf after completing Golden Axe? And having no further concern, he sought adventure in the East. Many games and feuds did Michael fight. Honor and fear were heaped upon his name, and in time he became a king by his own hand. And this story will also be told, but not tonight, and not by me.